desktop. And the use out of that is if you have one screen, you get access to your desktop in the background. And bottom right is the reactions button. The reactions button is handy for thumbs up or raising your hand during a question and answer period. And that way we can do people as they put their hands up and coming up. The other important button in here is the mute button. If you have background noises that are making a lot of noise, then please be muted. Otherwise, we will probably end up muting you as the presentation is going through. But if you're having a lot of strange noises in the background, don't add to the entertainment. And with all that said, back over to you, Margaret Ann.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Bernie. So for those that are new to our call, and hello LinkedIn and YouTube, because we are now live, just so everybody is aware. Connect Ottawa was born a few years ago with the pandemic, and Bernie Franz Grote and myself were partners, and we since have a new partner, Stéphane Metral, who does our technology. And what we were about was bringing people together. Now, that what's been very interesting the last few years is we've been able to bring people together all over the world. So, you know, COVID had its upside, and we have some regulars that we get to meet every week. And I feel like I know them, like Anna from Scotland. I feel like you're like, you know, one of my friends. I see you all the time. Anyways, that is the benefits of doing, coming to a meeting like this, getting to know people, showing up every week, because people do get to know you. And that's part of the know, like, and trust and relationships that a lot of us have been talking about. And I'm just going to share, we've been talking about flakes. So everybody on these calls are really going to work at not being flakes. And if you haven't heard what a flake means is when you accept an invite to an event and then you don't show up. So I promise I am working on not being a flake. So on that note, we're going to go around the room and give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. We're going to give you about 30 seconds, who you are, what you do, maybe where you're from. And don't forget, you can put that all into the chat box. So you can reach out and connect with somebody after the call, because that is networking. So on that note, let's go around the room and start with, how about Anna? You know what, Anna, let's start with you.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm based in Scotland, as Margaret Ann already pointed out, and sitting here looking at a semi-clear sky. But anyway, I'm a management consultant, and I'm also a SME investor. I do enjoy very much to helping businesses in thinking their business differently and explore opportunities they haven't previously found. And that's what I do. And I'd go on a joint journey with them. It's not me telling them what to do, but I'll go on a journey with them. So that's me. And love to connect with you all and love to meet you.
Thanks, Anna. How about Daniel?
Hello, everybody. I am with View3D.tv, located in Silver Spring, Maryland, USA, and we work globally. We are a technology evangelist that gets results for your business. What we do is we grow companies through a combination of newer technologies that we create, strategic planning, and much more. We are your results-driven creative business growth advisor, and we get you known, found, and paid.
Perfect. Well, glad to have you here.
Okay.
Alan.
Hello there. I'm Alan. I live in the UK, and I'm a mindset coach.
Great to have you again, Alan. Mayank.
All the time. I have this problem all the time. I forgot to unmute. Okay. Name's Mayank. I'm from Ottawa, Canada, and I am a certified health and wellness coach. I train people online as well as offline. I've got a studio right next to me. It's a fun job. It's one hell of a life. And yeah, what else? Margaret, what else should I say? Today, I want to be different. I make people fall in love with fitness.
There you go. That's a good tagline.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayank.
I help them, for men, I help them get a cheese grinder, like a 6-pack Hershey's chocolate. And then for ladies, it's like an hourglass, something like that.
Hourglass. Okay, thanks, Mayank. Moving on. Okay, there you go. Raul, nice to have you back.
Thank you, Margaret, and nice to see you all. Feels good. So hello guys, I am Rahul, the financial planner in Ottawa. So I will keep my intro very short and simple because recently I was motivated by a saying from a very well-learned man that if you are introducing yourself way long, this means you haven't done enough. So hustle more so that you don't have to introduce yourself. So so keeping it short, a financial planner in Ottawa, and this week what I'm doing, I'm selling dollars for pennies. So, well, there is a catch behind this phrase. If you're interested to know what's the catch, you know where to find me. I will share my contact in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Raul. Interesting. Aha. And Amy. You're on mute, Amy. Sorry. Yes, everybody's on mute when they come in. Okay, and not sure where to unmute yourself. Well, can I unmute you? I don't know if I can or not.
No, you can't. Yeah, it's bottom left corner, Amy. You'll find the mute button.
Oh, there you
if
go. You're off. You're good, Amy.
But your
Oh.
mic's not hooked up to your system.
Okay, you
So
know
Amy,
what?
So Amy, if you just look at your next to your mic and the arrow up button to it and just click it, just pick the device you're using. We'll come back to you and we'll go off to.
Oh, it says
Ashik.
connecting to audio. Maybe. Oh, there. Okay, now. No,
Amy, we're batting
it's
1,000.
still not working. Darn. Okay.
Sign language is
well-
working well though.
So, hi. Okay. So
Just
Amy
put
will
your details
also,
in the
maybe
chat.
she'll get back on or put your stuff. We still can't hear you, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Hector. Are you there, Hector? Would you like to introduce yourself? And then we had Ashab. And we got a quiet group today. We're having a little, oh, Hector, you off? Okay.
Yeah, I'm in. Anybody
Okay.
can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm working. I'm Hector Badillo. I used to work for Western Union for 14 years, and now I'm working in XC. So just I'm glad
Excellent.
to be here.
Cool. Okay, you also, don't forget to put your contact information and website or anything you have into the chat. Then we can all really understand and see what everybody's doing. And Amy, you're typing it in now. Do you want to try talking one more time quickly? No. You know what? It's not working, girlfriend. Sorry.
It could be the mic. It could be the device she has. Like maybe that's you know, like the Bluetooth or something like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be the headset.
So maybe disconnect it. Okay, so we're going to keep moving because we have to get this party started. Bernie, how about you? Who are you, my friend?
Bernie Franzgrove, Creative Insight Consultants, to do B2B connections, actual people-to-people connections. So my contact details are there. And if you need what I'm looking for are other startups and or some new products that are being launched. And I'm going to stop there because I can keep going. And over to you, Margaret Ann.
Okay, so as mentioned, co-founder of Connect Ottawa, also partners with Unified Remote Work, which is an office and everything you need to work remotely and market your ideas. But we're going to keep moving along. Amy, I'm going to try one more time. Say hello. I'll see if it. No, it's not working. So
Good
sorry
index
about
finger.
that.
I like
I just
that.
thought I'd come back. We're a very friendly bunch here, so no problem. We like to play and learn together because all of us, trust me, have had issues like this. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to ask Bernie Franzgrove to introduce our dynamic guest speaker today.
Well, folks, here we have Zach Monroe. He's a 15-year FX industry pro. Now, what does FX mean? That's foreign exchange. And he's worked with firms like Western Union, Associated Foreign Exchange, now called Corpay. He's won awards at FIRMA, now called OFX, at the branch for 2 years in a row, back to back. Outstanding Leadership Award in Canada, US, and UK as a director in that area. And companies of all sizes, he enjoys providing value to them, you know. And he's working currently with xe.com, and he does corporate and enterprise solutions. And with that, over to you, Zach.
Thank you, Bernie. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. At least somebody showed up today from XE who can speak. on their mic. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, guys, just one sec here. Let me know if you can see it.
Perfect.
Okay, so you can see my screen. Yep. Can I just get a 10-4 on that?
Yes, you're loud and clear. Roll
Okay,
on.
perfect. Okay. So first, I'd like to thank, obviously, Bernie, you, and the Connect Ottawa business people for giving me the opportunity to speak and to share my 15 years of insight into the FX market. My goal is just, I'm hoping everyone can take some value to use in either their own business or maybe somebody else's along the way. We all know how networking works, so passing on information is always key. So just thank you to everyone for being here. Before I get started, I wanted to share the purpose of this presentation. So the purpose is to just share a general overview of foreign exchange and how it relates to your business without getting too deep into the subject. This is meant to be informative and hopefully easy to digest. If anyone does want to go a little bit deeper, we can always kind of circle the wagons after during the Q&A, or we can always chat later on. But I'll be moving on to the agenda now. So just give me a sec here. Okay, so the agenda, here's today's agenda, and I'll do my best to keep this on track and with the allotted time frame of 15 to 20 minutes, leaving the time for Q&A. So where we're going to start is, what is foreign exchange? So Bernie, you did a fantastic job of covering that, but let me delve a little bit deeper into that. So what is foreign exchange? Or what most in the industry refer to as FX. So it's commonly called FX. And no, that's not visual effects. This is foreign exchange effects. FX in its most simple form is just converting one currency to another. So an example is converting Canadian to US dollars. The FX market is the largest market in the world and is one of the last unregulated markets, with trillions of dollars going in and out of institutions every single day. For me, that's a number I frankly cannot compute. So that's a big number. It also speaks to the sheer volume of money that is in circulation today, most of which has been printed, I believe, around 80% in the United States in the last 2 years. Consumers or people, they enter the market typically for small transactions like converting Canadian to US dollars for cross-border travel, or to send payments for a mortgage for that condo in Florida they visit in the winter. Think snowbirds. Corporations, on the other hand, enter the market to buy products. Oh, sorry, I just skipped ahead here accidentally. Sorry. So corporates, on the other hand, enter the market to buy products and services internationally. So they convert their Canadian to US and send payments to get products into Canada to generate sales and revenue. Most small to medium-sized companies buy currency on spot for sending payments. Buying spot is exactly what you think it is. It's buying a foreign currency right now at the posted rate or on the spot. A smaller portion of companies will hedge or buy forward. A forward is locking today's rate for a future date, like 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months. Sorry, I keep skipping ahead accidentally here. Anyways, 12 months when the contract is due. We'll talk a little bit more about hedging in a bit. So next slide. I don't know why I keep skipping ahead. So how most organizations approach foreign exchange. Unfortunately, most don't have an FX strategy. Most don't think about the impact the FX market has on their bottom line. Does anybody remember March 2020 when the pandemic hit? There were quite a few companies that went out of business simply because they didn't have an FX strategy. For example, imagine pricing your product with a thin margin in February 2020 with a 90-day payment term. Fast forward a few months, and the pandemic triggers a black swan event, causing the market to crash 25%. Now, all of a sudden, when you go to pay that bill 90 days later, the cost is 25% higher, and you've already sold the products. All of your revenue for that year wiped out. Some companies didn't have reserves, unfortunately, to stay alive and ended up bankrupt. Some of these companies had a hedging strategy in place, they would have been okay, or even ahead, versus bankrupt. So why does this happen to folks? Well, 98% of businesses use the bank. And banks don't tend to give any strategic advice unless you're a company that makes a material impact to their bottom line. So think big companies like Coke or Pepsi. You know, the bank will roll out the red carpet for them, but for the rest of the 90% of businesses, you're on your own. And unfortunately, most businesses, they just don't understand the impact that FX has on their business. So what most don't know. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight here into what most businesses don't know and what can potentially really help them with their foreign exchange. So MSBs, or money service businesses, these are businesses that exist solely and specialize in foreign exchange and helping companies understand the market in terms of business impact. This is what XE does. Money service businesses, or MSBs, will not only help companies come up with a great market strategy, but typically beat the bank by about 2% on average. It doesn't seem like much, you know, what's 2%? But look at it in terms of annual volumes. If a business sends 2 million US to China every year, paying 3% with their bank to convert, that's a price tag of $60,000. An MSB can help businesses save 66% of that, and you have someone by your side to keep your business operating its cash flow and margins optimally. So I keep referring to this thing called hedging, and it's something that you use to protect your bottom line. Hedging, in its simplest statement, is a strategy implemented by any business with international dealings in an attempt to mitigate the impact of exchange rate movement on the cost of their business. It might sound a little bit complicated. That's why I didn't want to get too much into this, but I'll just delve a little bit deeper into it just so you get a little bit of an understanding. So hedging is sometimes referred to as risk management, and it's really just an attempt to mitigate the impact of volatility in the FX market on a business's bottom line. So the goal of hedging is to create a more predictable outcome to a company's profit. The more exposed a company is to the FX market, the more there's a need to protect against it. Example, company that relies heavily on foreign products, but also has tight margins. Think of like the clothing industry. Companies like this, they can't ignore hedging. So why hedge? What are the benefits of it? Well, the biggest benefit of it obviously is to protect your profit margins. Some businesses like retail clothing, I don't mean to pick on retail clothing, but it just keeps popping up. Some retail clothing operate on very thin margins. So having a corporate risk strategy is a must. Imagine operating on less than 3% margin. The FX market can easily wipe that gain out in one day. Other non-tangible benefits are competitive advantage. This is one that a lot of people don't consider, but if your competitor in the clothing industry isn't hedging and you are, you can keep your price the same despite an increase in the market, while he or she may have to either raise their price or take a big loss. Last piece is it offers peace of mind. You don't have to sit up at night hoping the market cooperates with your last order from China. Price is set, it's in the books, and you can look forward to selling more of your products and services. You can focus on your business. So what is the future of money service businesses? Where is everything heading? The FX market and offering for MSBs to organizations is evolving like any other business. Everything, you know, is going to be digital, online, AI one day. So in an attempt to keep up with trends, MSBs are heading in a direction where they're now designing or have already designed a software integration with a business's accounting software to make vendor payments, realize gains and losses, and have automatic journal entries all in one place with the click of a button. This is where the industry is going. And here is an example of what XE is doing to keep up with that. So as you know, I work with xe.com. Here's what their API integration looks like. This is just a brief overview, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but XE has partnered with Microsoft. We're the only company to partner with Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, and we've embedded our service into Microsoft. We offer a unique solution to Dynamics users where users can do the following with the click of one button inside their own accounting software. So this is what I like to call automagic. So with the click of one button, you can make mass payments to all your vendors, reconcile all of your gains and losses, and have all the journal entries made automatically. No manual processing. Everything is done instantly. Everything done inside your system with one click. It literally saves hundreds of working hours every month, and it eliminates manual processing errors. At the moment, it's a race between competitors to offer these solutions. The future of foreign exchange for money service businesses is offering a service that fully integrates with a customer's accounting software. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. And I hope it was informative. And I just wanted to kind of give an informative overview and just kind of a brief insight into the foreign exchange market. And I'll just open up the floor at this time to take questions, and hopefully everyone has something good to ask, and I will do my best to answer.
So Zach, what's the impact with crypto in relation to that in this universe?
So crypto, I can't really speak much to crypto because it's not really a currency. Crypto, it's a funny thing, right? Where I think what happens with crypto is a lot of people are chasing the dragon, so to speak, right? And it's not very transactional in nature. So it's more of a pseudo currency that people invest in and try to catch massive gains. And you can see that right now. It's not really tied to the currency market, to be honest with you. Although there are indicators from the currency market that do affect crypto. And a US dollar increase would have an effect on it, but not vice versa. Like Bitcoin crashing is not having an impact on the currency market. That's having an impact on people's portfolios, right? But people don't tend to hold, $300 million of US dollar as an investment like they do with crypto.
Yep. Rahul has a question here.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Bernie, for opening the floor. A wonderful presentation, Zach. That was really insightful. So for my understanding, I see hedging is to Forex market and arbitrage is to securities and money market. And there is a point where they have a interconnection, like they're intertwined. Could you just give us a synopsis of how they play a role intertwined and affect the markets?
Well, I don't really know anything about arbitrage, to be honest with you, right? Hedging is just an attempt to control the descent, so to speak, right? So if you're in the market and you're an organization that has a lot of exposure to the volatility of it, hedging is all that's trying to do is it's trying to control the gain and loss and smooth it out over time so that you can predict kind of where you're going to end your year at, but also to try to protect that profit margin, right? Because what you saw in the pandemic was market went up 25%. Anybody who was already in it below 25% still had their outstanding invoices to pay, right? So they got whacked with that extra cost. Had somebody hedged in that scenario, let's say they hedged before the pandemic and they had a good hedging program, it wouldn't have had quite the impact. They're still going to be impacted by it. It's still going to hurt a little bit, right? But you would have felt a lot more of a gradual curve into that impact rather than just a smack right away.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks. I get that. Like hedging is a risk management tool, like you said, like in our financial planning, we say like it gives you a capacity to stand the shock if you're not prepared for it. Recently, when the COVID came in 2020, I know there was a new hobby for all of us to go into stock market and learn the options. So I was attending a few seminars and regarding the options, and they always used to say so there was a narrative that options and hedging go hand in hand because the hedgers and all those people who play options used to play the markets and watch at the currency, how the currencies are manipulated, and so that they can have the advantage of the differential prices in different time zones, like London Stock Exchange or like in some other New York Stock Exchange, and they see the currency, how the currency is moving, and then they can bet on the option, put call or buy option. So if you have anything on that, just a glimpse, or maybe I
Oh,
can
for
connect
sure.
with you later. Yeah.
Absolutely. And just to talk a little bit about options, it's part of an overall hedging strategy. It's not the hedging strategy. Options are a lot more high risk in terms of just a regular forward contract, right? So there are companies that are more, their appetite is more geared towards having options built into the strategy versus smaller companies that would not be able to sustain a margin call, right? So it's all about product fit for options, and not most companies don't fit that model. So definitely something we can talk about offline. But yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Zach. I will open the floor for Aship now. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No problem.
Aship. Are you there, Aship? You can go ahead. Okay.
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt while that conversation was happening. So I wanted to know, in terms of your experience, Zach, what would you suggest for new entrepreneurs that would be, like, for example, hypothetically speaking, interested in opening their own cybersecurity firm, like, or any firm actually? Do you have any tips for those entrepreneurs?
I mean, I don't really have a background in cybersecurity, but if they are planning on going global or international, speak with somebody like myself before they start setting up their international businesses or international offices, and put a strategy in place before kind of head it off before they get there, so that they can not only get the right pieces in place and the right pricing and the right tools, but mostly it's for an entrepreneur is just to educate them about the FX market, because I've dealt with a lot of startup people in the past, and usually they just don't have a ton of understanding about how FX will eventually affect their business. And just sitting down and just being like, here's the top 10 things that you need to know about foreign exchange. Here's a one pager, just take it with you and just use it as you go and as your business grows. Give me a call in the future kind of thing.
Right. Makes sense. So just, I guess, to kind of summarize what you were saying, is just to kind of do your research, and also communicate with you when it comes to like if we want to expand the business globally or internationally, right? Yes,
absolutely. Okay. Right. So the number one thing for startup owners or entrepreneurs is just, I need to educate them first and foremost. Yeah. It's not about doing business with them or sending payments for them, because usually they're not there. It's just getting the information into their heads, so that down the road, when it does happen, they're like, oh, I remember there's something important I needed to do. Yeah.
So, like, for example, in my case, like, I would like to start something, for example, within Ottawa. And then eventually, when I feel the time is right, or when I have like a kind of like a go ahead from somebody that I'm speaking with, then I would be expanding internationally or globally.
That would be the perfect time to chat with me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, that's all I had.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
So Zach, what's the best currency to be converted into that's the most stable? Or is that a loaded question?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Well,
you're welcome. You know, you're welcome.
That's not true. I mean, obviously the most predictable, I wouldn't say predictable, the least amount of volatility you're going to see is probably between a CAD USD cross, and I want to say maybe a Euro CAD cross. But again, right, like it's really not easy to answer that question. There are some exotic currencies that would be an absolute nightmare to look at every day, because they would be a lot more volatile. But mostly the major pairings would be the most stable and the least volatile.
Okay.
Right. I have another question for you, because it's a very interesting area. But these hedging facilities, they can also be used as very heavily investment areas, especially the volatility that you referred to before is actually creating a huge potential for big gains. Also big losses. It's risky business, but if you study the movements and sort of put yourself into the context of the world economy and how the countries are developing, then you can achieve some insight into the majority of the currencies anyway. It's just to mention that it also can be, hedging can also be an investment potential.
Yeah, for depending, like if somebody had a portfolio and they had some offshore investments, you would definitely want to look into hedging for sure. That's just me speaking personally, right? And yeah, and I know some people that they do short sell and stuff like that. So it's not really my area of expertise, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So do you recommend, or how do you manage, let's say, precious metals? So if I want to convert currency to another form of currency, so to speak, because usually when you talk currency, you think paper money, right? Can you convert it into other assets?
No, unfortunately, we can only convert currency into another currency at XC. Although we do our currency feeds do provide precious metal pricing, as that does have a direct indication or pairs up well with obviously with the currency markets. But like I can't buy gold and then have it sent to you or anything like that, or hold it.
Okay. So is there an optimal time then to do, I'm assuming there are no other questions or any other comments. If there is, please raise your hand, and I'll keep pinging away. And I don't want to just, be the sole source of.
Go ahead, Bernie.
Now I've lost my question. Sorry, Margaret, you have a question?
You're asking if there was an optimal time to?
Yes, to process funds.
In terms of the foreign exchange rate?
Yeah.
No.
Is there when
it's at the best rate?
Well, that's handy.
No, so that to answer the question, nobody knows where the market's going to be. If they did know where the market was going to be, I don't know how that would play out on the market itself. Okay. But for the most part, no, right? It's more of a reactive thing, right? And that's why I talk about hedging, because you're trying to take that guesswork out of it, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. But
I guess if you know the best time, go ahead, Anna.
It's just I want to add, because I was talking about the investment part of it before. It's also often, it's not always so, but often with currencies that is very volatile, you can get very good rates on hedging them, 6, 8, whatever time frame you're working at in future, and that's where huge potential gains is possible, but also losses, because you are risking your capital. But that's how it's used by investors, because the volatility makes it unpredictable, and unpredictability is reducing the rate, so it becomes sort of an average, prehistoric, and with an expectation of the coming economy add on or deducted, depending how it looks, and then they sort of set a rate, and they offer a rate for this kind of time. So really the key to this is understanding how hedging actually works, because then you would also get the insight of when can you use it as an investment, or when can you use it as a risk management tool, and so forth. So yeah.
And
sorry to butt in on your area, Zach.
No, that's okay. And where we specialize is how you use it as a risk management tool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zach, I'm at your website, xe.com.
That's not my website. That's XE's website. I wish.
Okay,
it was my
I'm just
website.
looking at the event going, okay, where's your website? Can you put it in the thing?
Yeah, I will. I'll put it in just 1 second.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I wish XE was all mine. It's a
Well, I
fantastic
thought, well,
organization.
okay, how do I do this? I'm just looking. If you need help, contact Zach.
I'm just gonna.
I need help. This is all new to me, so I need help. I'm going, okay, where would I
No
use
worries.
this? I'm a small
Okay.
business. I'm going to sell a service in another. It's a service. Do I need your services?
Hey guys, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
you can,
yes.
Amy.
Okay, so
You're alive.
I got my microphone to work, but now my video won't work. So I guess that's the name of the game.
I
But
heard
to
the
add
full
further,
moon.
oh yeah, that could be it. To add further to Bernie's question to Zach about opportune times. So one of the biggest difference that you'll notice with an MSB compared to, let's say, a bank, is that we try to learn your business. So if you have, a budgeted rate and you say, hey, we're looking for this level, the biggest difference is we'll work with you to try to achieve those levels. So if you say, hey, Amy, I want to sell US dollars at $1.30, Zach or I would call you and say, hey, today the US dollar is trading at $1.30. So that, that's kind of the service that a broker would offer to you as opposed to a bank. Banks don't really offer that add-on service. So to answer your question, Bernie, in terms of opportune times, you let us know what your opportunity looks like, what you want to sell your dollars at, and we'll make sure that happens.
Okay. Excellent. So to add to that, is it better just to do, let's say if I'm doing someone in the, let's say in South America, and do I say I want to do this transaction in US dollars and then keep it into a stable currency like you're talking about versus some other parts of the globe where the currency is not so stable because they've been ostracized? Without getting into names.
I always recommend sending the local currency, unless there's some sort of destabilization. In that case, the likelihood is you won't be able to send the local currency anyways, and it would be then mostly defaulting to the US dollar. USD is the reserve currency, so pretty much anyone would take the US dollar. But I would always ask you where you're sending it first and recommend local currency if that was the right fit.
Yeah. Are you affected by restrictions that are embargoes to other countries that are put on by, so you're affected the same way a bank would be then, right? Like
100%. Yeah, so like the previous or the most recent sanctions on Russia, that will directly affect us. Any sanction, like sanctions on Cuba or anywhere else, that affects us as well. So we can't send money to anywhere that has a sanction on it, and anywhere that is deemed restricted, like Iran, North Korea type places.
Okay.
And Raul has another question or comment. Go ahead, Raul.
Thanks, Margaret. And so maybe this is for Zach and Amy, because Zach has answered a lot of questions. So I want to give him a breath.
It's okay.
So like Amy, anything, some sort of platform or demo platform or resources where the rookie Forex people can just like test the waters, get an idea, or like some simulation where we can practice, and once we are comfy, we can try put some money, hit or miss, to see how it works.
We do have an online system. It is www.xe.com. We don't really have a demo in terms of like, are you looking to do this as like an impersonal transaction, or are you talking about investments?
Something like simulator, like when you go to like Scotia or CIBC platforms, there is a simulator before you can start investing. So based upon the simulator results, it gives you a heads up on what level you are, so that you can make a calculated move, something like that, simulation.
So you can utilize the xe.com site. There's a lot of really great tools that does not require a sign up. So you can actually get quotes on currency. You can take a look at historical trends, rates. You can also place market orders and rate alerts. But in terms of like an actual demo, unfortunately, we don't have that available as of yet. Unless, Zach, are you aware of something that I'm not?
I always just do a walkthrough personally, so I'd share my screen
Yeah.
and demo the platform. But just to clarify, we don't offer speculative trading, right? So we don't do specking, and we don't do. So I kind of get what you're getting at, right? There are companies out there that do speculative trading, and that would be something like Oanda.
Or plus
Yeah.
500. Plus 500, you can do it yourself. They offer demo accounts as well.
Yeah, and you can get a demo account with like
Yeah.
one of those or Oanda,
Yeah.
right? I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, right? But we don't offer specking accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
makes
just
sense.
for
Yeah.
it's just for corporate and consumer payments and foreign currency exchange.
Mhm. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I will have a look at your website. Yeah, and find some resources. Thank you.
So, Zach, would you consider PayPal a competitor or PayPal-like organizations?
Yes and no. Yes, because they get a lot of business in through their platforms where they do convert currency, but it's more of a, I want to say, byproduct of the service they offer. They're not entering the market to do currency exchange. They're entering the market to be a facilitator of payments that happens to do a lot of foreign currency exchange. And typically PayPal charges, I think, between 3 and 4% per. So it's a very wide margin with PayPal when you do convert through them.
Okay. So at the end of the day, using XD versus a bank, how much of a difference is there in the percentage that they take from the do they take it both ends of the spectrum, by the way, or just from the one person?
The person who's buying or selling, right? So
Okay.
if you're a customer of the bank and you want to convert Canadian to US dollars, they're going to charge you, right? Typically,
Okay.
the bank charges about 3%, and we're about 2% better. So we're somewhere around that 1% or less mark, depending on your volume, obviously. And you know, it adds up, right? So like I said in the presentation, right? If you're doing 2 million annually, what's 3% on 2 million, right? That's a lot, right? And that's per year. And one thing that I've noticed in my 15 years is that a lot of people, they just don't know what they're being charged. They don't understand how pricing works with foreign exchange, and they're like, well, that's just where the rate is, right? It just is what it is. But there's a nominal fee built into that rate. So there's the market rate, and then there's a spread that the bank charges. Yeah. Right. So, and Anna, you're nodding your head. I'm sure you're aware of this. And this happens. Yeah.
Just to fill in, when I transfer money between countries, I use currency fair because I can actually hedge the amount that I want to post either in or out. So it is worth it. But they are also very good at calculating. They have artificial intelligence logarithms behind it, so they actually tell you how much you save according to an ordinary bank transfer, and it's considerable amount of money. And if you multiply that with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, it becomes an incredible, huge amount.
Yeah, just to what she was saying, right? It can. I've seen businesses charged in the hundreds of thousands before, just to change from one currency to another and send a payment.
So when you do this currency exchange right now, because I'm assuming like when Anna's talking about what we've been talking about is doing a transfer of funds electronically to another party. Do you also do put $100 US cash in my hand if I want to transfer cash?
So I believe there is an offering through a subsidiary. So XE belongs to a conglomerate called Euronet Worldwide, which is a massive company. And I believe there's a subsidiary called Ria Rails. Ria, not Ria Rails. Ria Rails is a product they offer. It's called Ria, and Ria is like Western Union retail, where you can have money show up at a retail location and you can pick it up.
So can you also, if I show up with $100 US and want to convert to Canadian, do that same footprint, then walk it back and forth using you guys as, or your company as the back office?
We all use the same back office, but you would be dealing with RIA, who is the
Okay.
retail that they're the retail front, right?
Fair
So
enough.
like
Okay.
Western Union had Western Union Business Solutions, dealt with corporate, and then they had Western Union, and it was just retail, and they just dealt with retail, right?
Is
So-
there, sorry, I'm not trying to do a drug transaction, but is there, or other felonious stuff, but if you show up with X amount, sorry, I may as well just kind of spell it out. But let's say you had a cash deal and very legitimate. What are the thresholds before you got to supply some more paperwork, as in like I'm moving too much cash?
10,000. If you showed up with a chunk of change over that, they just would, nobody would do it. And they would just, it would be, there'd be red flags, and somebody would probably show up at your house and start asking questions.
So, but let's say if you're running legitimate though, what would you need to make sure to ensure that, let's say you're doing land purchase, you sold some real estate in the US or another country, right? And you want your money back, which would be legitimate. What steps does a person have to take to ensure that I don't have visitors later on?
Yeah, just don't deal in cash, right? So you want to deal in wire transfers, ACH, EFTs, or SEPA, right? So you want to make sure you deal with it electronically. And the reason why you want to deal with electronically is that everything is papered, and there's a trail everywhere it goes, and they can easily identify who you are, the source of funds, the source of everything, and they can track where it's going and why it's going. And they'll ask those questions when you're like, if you were to send a remit from a bank to another bank, if you're gonna walk in, they're gonna ask you a slew of questions. They're gonna say, why do you need to send this? Show me an invoice. Show me a receipt or a real estate piece of real estate paperwork that would indicate you need to actually pay this mortgage or you're actually buying this property. In terms of this industry, there's very, very tight regulation in terms of anti-money laundering and fraud processes. So it's really hard to get money sent anywhere without revealing everything about your person.
Okay.
There you go. It's not a second episode of Ozark or anything. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I had a feeling we were going to go down this road.
Yeah. And so that's kind of like with anything. Yes, providing a paper trail says it's legit, right? Nobody likes to deal with cash. I'm sure in a few years there will be no more cash, right? It'll be all like electronic. Okay, well, this has been a very interesting conversation. I know it's the first time I've been this quiet. I'm just absorbing everything because I'm trying to figure out how I would use that. I didn't, Bernie, so I'm glad you brought up a couple ideas, like, if you sold land or whatever, because sometimes I think there is a lot, like, other small business people on here as well going, I don't know how I would use that service or who would use it. So it's good to know, good to put in my repertoire, so I'm a little bit more knowledgeable. So thank you for that. Anybody else have any more comments, feedback?
Yeah, there.
Okay, I'm going to ask one. What is a typical size of business? What would be the smallest business that you deal with, Zach?
Well, we don't really have a cutoff, right? So we welcome all customers, but typically on the corporate side, we're looking for businesses that deal in an annual FX turnover of 500,000 or more per year.
Okay.
So you're making between $40,000 and $50,000 payments a month of outgoing foreign currency. Typically.
Okay.
I think Daniel had a question.
Daniel, okay.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say a lot of people also use bots to trade, and what they do is they trade between different exchanges and basically make money on the price differentials from one exchange to another. And actually have bots that actually track this all day long, and they basically keep doing trades back and forth between different exchanges, and that's how they make some money.
Thank you, Daniel.
Zach, do you have a bot for XE or?
That's speculating. We don't speculate.
Well, no, but even for looking at optimal times to try, I get what you're saying. It's not a horse trading session, but I think part of the AI, if it has utility, would be this is the best time. not a guarantee. It's going to be, typically, let's say 2 a.m, maybe the US dollar drops, I don't know, or the pound or the euro.
We don't have any proprietary AI that offers
It cannot speculate.
recommendations on when
Not
to
all
trade.
finance.
That would go against regulatory. Yeah. So any MSB or bank that says now, that can get them in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think anything when it comes to financials, there's a lot of boundaries there, a lot regulations in place, so you can't do any of that. So as we know, Zach runs the line. So anybody that's listening to this, that's good. Bernie, way to go! I love it. Hey, let's hear. Now, what about this, Zach? You know us all really well right now. So could you maybe do this? No. What I want to know, Zach, is as we're starting off, we're 4 minutes to 2. I thought I'd get a little chuckle out of you. We're going to pass it over to Bernie. He's going to give us a little roundup of what's coming up next week. And Zach, we're going to come over to you before you leave. Zach has put his information into the chat box, and I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think at least 2 great tips to leave people with as we sign off this call. So Bernie, what's coming up next week?
Well, Margaret Ann, funny you should ask that question. First off, this Thursday, we have a mastermind at noon hour for 1 hour. And the promo code is 2022 gold, all one word, all uppercase letters. Next Tuesday, all about hashtags. Michelle McFarland. She's coming in to talk about using hashtags and how to find the right ones. And now, Michelle can tell you the story, but you have to be here next Tuesday. And 5 minutes after the hour, you'll get a survey. If you've asked for not to have continuous mailing, but you've attended here today, you will get that email. And if you've asked not to be contacted again, I will not be contacting you again. And the last bit is save the chat. So open the chat, the 3 dots, hit save, because that's the easiest thing that's ever forgotten. It's almost like the mute button. Everybody forgets the mute. So over to you, Margaret Ann.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Bernie. I'm just going to give a little promo here for Connect Ottawa. So a lot of you know that we do have memberships here. We start them off at $25 a month, but I'm not sure if you understand what we're actually doing. Sometimes we can be a little confusing. So for $59 a month, our Connect Ottawa members enjoy a great discount. So what is this? How does this work? If you want to put an online course on in our Connect Ottawa Academy, we're looking for you. Are you a course creator? Do you have online courses? Do you want more exposure? Number 1. Number 2, we will be announcing a blog article that's going to be great for search engine optimizations. You're going to have options to purchase keywords in this. And it's another great thing. So if you've got articles that you've been hanging around, you don't know what to do with them, it is time to repurpose them with Connect Ottawa. And of course, we also partner with Unified Remote Workplace, which gives you a place to get organized online. So if you are going, everything's all over and you just want one platform where you log into absolutely everything, this is something to investigate. So there's great value. What we've been doing from the start is trying to come up with ideas and solutions to help business people get started. So this is ideal if you're starting a business or if you want to fine tune your business. Please reach out and have a conversation with me. I'd love to share more about what's happening. And on that note, back to Zach. What are the top 2 takeaways from today, Zach?
2 tips. If you're a business or you know a business that does foreign currency exchange to send international payments, or you're receiving foreign currency and exchanging that money back to repatriate, give me a call. I want to walk you through some education. And the second piece is don't use the bank.
Good point, that one.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, Michelle, we've got still a few seconds. Do you want to add one thing? Oh, maybe I took her off guard. Maybe I did. Oh, sorry. Did I say Michelle or did I say Amy?
You said Michelle, but
I meant Amy.
Reload.
No, I agree with Zach. In a time where, the cost of everything is going up, why pay your banks more than you should? It's definitely, if you have foreign exchange exposure for your business, it would be worth your while to take a look, at what you're paying and what's out there. There are a lot cheaper options than the bank.
Awesome. I love it. A broker, some advice elsewhere to follow up on. Okay, what I'm doing, guys and gals, sorry,
one short question. Zach, is the money insured in transit, like your bank account?
Oh,
so we have we provide the same insurance that the banks provide, right? Which is, we have, not have to look into that, what exactly it is, but we are insured, right?
Okay.
And provide the same insurance that the banks do.
Sorry, it just popped into that. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, now everybody's had time to digest it all. They're going, I wish I had asked this. So if you're thinking that, reach out to Zach. Thank you so much, Zach, for presenting today. It was great, educational, and a lot of fun. I did have a few smiles too. I did put the Connect Ottawa LinkedIn page in the thing, so I'm going to suggest you follow it. That's where you'll find Zach and all our weekly presentations. And if you'd like to join us on Thursday, we offer a complimentary visit to everyone to come and see if we're a gang that you want to hang with. So on that note, thanks a lot. It's 2:01 and I don't want to keep you anywhere punk. So thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.